How's it going, everyone? It's David here, and welcome back to another episode of my playthrough for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, in which I am building Wild World Adventure Park. In the last episode, I built a big B&M stand-up coaster in the middle of the park that I called the Maharaja inside of the Bazaar section of the park. And in this episode, I'm going to complete the loop, not the whole loop of the park, but mainly a loop from the back end of the Bazaar to the back end of my Asian Oriental section of the park. And I decided to fill in this loop by having another more small themed area, and for this I decided to go with an Australian section themed of the park. Now in this game, really the only animals that you can have from Australia are kangaroos, but that's all I was looking for. So mainly I just wanted to build a kangaroo exhibit, one food stand, and even one ride, and not just any ride, but a roller coaster. And since this area is pretty small, I wanted to have something pretty compact. And when you think about Australia, you think about boomerangs, and well, that's what I decided to build, was a Vekoma Boomerang. These are not exactly the best rides in real life, but let's just say I'm going to pretend that this is the best boomerang ever built. It's okay, it fills in the gap, it adds another coaster to my collection, and I will be doing that later and eventually. But first, right now, it's going to be, again, more of a transition. Right next to the Maharaja roller coaster, I am building a small camel exhibit, since it's still that little Middle Eastern themed area of the park. And then as you turn the corner, it will then turn into the small Australian section of the park. So as I am making the exhibits, I will later build the coaster and a food stand building, and I will check back in with you guys later. So again, this game doesn't have too much in terms of Australian theming, Australian animals. So after the kangaroo exhibit, I decided to build the insect house that comes pre-made in the game. The reason I chose that is because there's a whole bunch of crazy insects and bugs in Australia, and the design of the building looks pretty crazy and creepy with the spider legs coming out, so I decided to put that in there too. And I think it's like a nice little corner of the park. This isn't the big flashy area of the park, but more or less just a nice little area that has one animal exhibit, well, two technically with the insect house, a nice food building, and one ride with the boomerang, which I called, instead of just a generic boomerang, I called it the Outback Boomerang. So yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory, and I think what I built so far is pretty nice. Later I will be adding in more trees and more shrubberies, but what we got, I feel, is pretty good. And I think by the next episode we will be completing that loop back into the Asian Oriental section of the park. Before I go, I figured, why not? Let's have a quick POV of the Outback Boomerang. So here you go. Hope you enjoy. And before I signed off, I began building a custom structure using in-game pieces for the boomerang. I did this after I stopped recording for the playthrough, but here it is. I think this looks pretty nice. But that is pretty much it. So what do you guys think of my boomerang and my small Australian section of the park? If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe for more content. And with that being said, thank you all for riding, and I'll see you next time.